Well, it's a good evening from the studios in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and of course on a Thursday we go simulcast. I've been away travelling around the Greek islands, and we've been doing the show from the laptops at various venues. Nice to be back in the studios, I have to say, very comfortable. But nevertheless, our guest today is from the UK, and we've actually been talking behind the screens before we went live, and it's been great to catch up with Ladrhyn. Anyway, without further ado, I'll pass you on to Andrena, and then we'll go from there. So, good morning.
He's froze again.
Oh, he's froze again.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming a New Dream. And today it's another 9-9 portal, and me being all nines is another amazing day for myself on many levels. Anyway, it's without further ado, I'm going to welcome Ladrhyn Bexx onto the show. So welcome, Ladrhyn, and it's lovely to see you again.
Hello. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for inviting me here.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to be our guest. And I know I bumped into you at the healing weekend. Where are we now? September, gosh, July, August, September, 3 months ago. Hey, gosh.
Yeah, time flies by, eh?
Oh, it's whizzing through. So
we've had a good year, haven't we?
Oh, aren't we just? I've known you over the years, and I've seen you and what have you. So, and yeah, I love what you're doing. And
Thanks.
for some people, you're a sleep practitioner, which I know you're going to share more about. You're also into lucid dreaming, a sound healer, and you run a fabulous parsonage side retreat in Somerset, which we're working on at the moment. And you're going to share about out-of-body experiences, mediumship, trance states, and so much more. And I know you were talking about writing a book, and you've already written a couple, so that you're going to bring all your insights together. So let's start from the very beginning. What were the steps that brought you to where you are now? Because I know I got lots of questions, and I think I shared with you that our mum was a medium and a healer. So we had circles we sat in when we were younger, and I can remember trumpets going around the room with the luminous paint on, and the tables moving and all sorts of things. So none of this is new to me. So this is right up my street. So without further ado, off you go.
Well, I guess my journey started when I was very young. I was in my teens. Prior to that, I did have episodes throughout my life where I did see and communicate with spirit at a very, very young age. But as I grew older, after like 4 or 5 years old, that dwindled away. Maybe it'll come back one day. But it wasn't until I was about 14, 15 years old, and I just had this really strong desire to just do something private in my bedroom and just, I don't know, turn the lights off and light a candle. I didn't have a candle, but I just knew I needed to get a candle. And I don't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. Something guided me. It was spirit, but who, I still don't know. But so I didn't have these resources at that age. So my dad smoked, so I stole like a lighter and a candle from the dining area for like Christmas time. This wasn't Christmas, this was like the autumn. And I just lit a candle in front of me, put some music on, like a relaxing CD, because my dad had been into spirituality for many years, but never taught me anything, never showed me anything. It was there to be explored, but I never explored it. And so I just stole the CD and a candle, and I didn't know what I was doing, I was just like being guided. And so I lit this candle in front of me in my bedroom and just sort of sat upright, and I just started breathing really deeply. And I stopped after like 10 minutes because my whole body was physically vibrating, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I'm going to kill myself, or I'm over hyperventilating. I'm just going to lay on my bed and wait for these feelings to go away. So I blew out the candle, lay in my bed, and I was very stiff with all this energy. And I remember just laying there. And previously, I put a sign on my door saying, please don't disturb. And then, at the time, living with my parents, I heard a knock at the door. It was like dinner's ready, come get it. and the angry teenager in me was kind of like F off, you know. But down below was my physical body speaking to my mum, saying, "I'll come back later." And I was floating in the top corner of my bedroom, but I couldn't see anything. But I felt I was up there. But I could hear somebody speaking through my physical body, and I thought, who's speaking through my body? And before I went,
Your sound, have you covered up a microphone or something? Your sound's gone. I don't know when you were talking.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So laying on my bed, I put my hands in front of my face with my eyes closed, and I could see my hands moving, and I was putting things up, and I was like, this is weird. So I just lay down waiting for these feelings to go, this, you know, weird sensations and experience. And that's when I heard the knock at the door saying, your dinner's ready. And the angry teenager in me was like, F off. You know, I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. And then through my body spoke to my mum saying, please come out later. And all I heard was, oh, okay. And then that was it. After that, I came through, and I just didn't understand what really happened. But then I continued doing that meditation like every day. And things really picked up for a while. I started hearing voices and seeing spirit more so. So that was the kickstart of it when I lived in Reading before we moved here. If that helps, like the kickstart of it.
Yeah. So how long have you been in Somerset? Somerset.
October 29th, 2004, we moved here. So quite close to Halloween, one of my favorite times of the year. And my father found the place. He have you heard of the Monroe Institute in America?
Yeah.
So he attended there a number of times, and he really wanted to create a place in the UK that was like a Monroe Institute in the UK. So he found, you know, kept looking and looking, and it was no success. And one day he had an out-of-body experience himself, and he was shown the back of the property, how it is now. And he saw how the dormers were in the roof, the extra extension. And so he was forever trying to find this place until he found this place like for sale, but it wasn't extended. So he went along with it, and at the time, they already had buyers wanting to buy the place. And so the current owners at the time were like, look, you know, Mr. Bexx, you're wasting your time. This place is going to be sold. But my dad was adamant because of the experience he had. And eventually the people who were going to buy the property pulled out, and then we moved in. And when we were doing the building work, some of the extension had been rejected because it couldn't go through because of the way it looked. So my father drew what he saw in his out-of-body experience. I guess it was a future experience he had in the future. And so he did that, sent it to the architects, and it was passed. They accepted it, so we continued. So yeah, he was obviously shown that experience for a reason. But over the years, we didn't get anything through with the Monroe Institute here. That's what we built the place for. But instead, we always had like mediums and psychics and home circles going on here throughout the years. And then about 7 years ago, we built a purposely built seance room, a blacked out room on the property. And since then, we're more dedicated to that part of life, really. You know, giving people answers from spirit, you know, communications from spirit, seeing phenomena. So it's been a long, like 21 years building the place as a family. There's still more to do, but it's coming together.
Yeah, because it's amazing what you're doing, like you were saying about the gardens, and you're putting standing stones in and all sorts of things. So a secret garden, I think you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. It's always called the secret garden. The last owners put it in, but it had overgrown and everything. So I've ripped everything out beginning of this year. And what I'm doing, I'm putting a seating area that's sunken down into the ground with lots of like plants around. So it gives you a natural privacy. Concrete path, which I'm putting in at the moment. And it would just be a nice sort of private area that, you know, we can give talks and meditations to, because the gardens are very beautiful here. There's ley lines that pass through the property. So about 5 years ago, I put a standing stone in. It's about 7 foot tall, made of limestone from a quarry in Ham Hill, about, I don't know, 45 minutes drive away. So that just marks where the ley lines cross. It's called a ley center, a power of energy. So if you know what ley lines are, it's like the meridians of our body, but on the earth, and they carry, you know, supernatural sort of energies across. And people, when they come here, they often feel like a warm hug. They feel something very beautiful here. They can't quite explain. So yeah, it's definitely a sacred place. There was also spirit monks being seen here before, so we think there was some sort of chapel here many hundreds of years ago,
Right.
but there's no physical evidence of that. Just more so, I mean, it's called Parsonage Side, so it's where like the owner of the church would live here. So we've got some spirit activity here, but nothing bad. It's just all positive, really.
Good. That
Yeah,
helps.
yeah.
Helps, eh? Right, because I know, like, you can cover so many subjects. What would you like
Yeah.
to? What is the most that touches your heart and soul that you'd like to share today?
Oh, I mean,
I know
I'm
there's many.
really there is. It's hard, but it's all interwoven into one, because you got mediumship, talking to spirits on the other side, and through that you have to do trance. You know, so also I have experiences through sleep, which is important, because you know, helping people to sleep, which is important, but helping people to sleep in order to be aware of their dream states, in order to connect with people on the other side. So it's all interwoven. So it's more like the non-physical areas of like contact and communication and trance. It's quite a broad subject, so it's hard to pinpoint it down into one thing, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, definitely. Well, let's start with the dreams then, or lucid dreaming. Because I mean, like there's a difference between dreaming and lucid dreaming. And I know in the past I've had dreams where I've dreamt something, and then in the next I'm telling whoever about what I've just dreamt. So that's what you
Yeah.
call lucid dreaming.
Well, lucid dreaming is being aware that you are dreaming, and you can control the dream and the environment. So you have something called reality check. So if you're out of body, or you know, in a dream world, and you can see things, and you look at your hands, and you can be like, okay, hands turn to light now. Like if it's a command. So am I dreaming or awake right now? Hands turn to light now. If they glow up or disappear or do something strange, then it's like it gives you a prompt that, okay, I'm dreaming. And with that, you can control the dream into a deeper experience where you're out of body, or you have an astral projection. So it's more than dreaming. But you have this phasing level of consciousness from dreaming, lucid dreaming, you know, out of body experiences, astral projection. So you have this phasing level of consciousness where you can be anywhere between these states when you're asleep.
So if people wanted to start, or just say I wanted to be more aware in my dreams, because like I know in my dreams it's just like full on, and when I come back it's like I know it's been full on out there, but there's no memory of it, or there's just like a little recognition that it was just full on. Yeah, because I think, God, I've come back for a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to rest, but you come back to have a rest from resting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, in spirit, you know, when you pass over, you don't really sleep as such. You need a break from mental doing things, but you don't get tired. So, but yeah, the dream, if you want to be aware of your dreams, it's more of a prompt, because we all have a body clock, and I'm sure all of you listening and everything have set your alarm, and then you wake up like a minute before your alarm, right? That's because you've programmed yourself to say, okay, tomorrow I need to wake up at 6 a.m. And what happens? You wake up 30 seconds before the alarm, and then the alarm goes off sometimes. So we have a body clock within us that we have programmed ourselves, that we're like, okay, I need to get up at a certain time. So it's all about prompts and you know, affirmations. So when you're in bed, you just need to say every night, like, I will remember my dreams tonight. I'll be aware. I will remember, and most likely you will. On average, for me, I probably remember between 5 and 10 dreams per night, and I can, you know, describe certain things. but the most I've ever had experiences in one morning, I think, was about 38 dreams in one go.
Oh my God.
And this was the time when I was documenting so many of my experiences that it took me like 3 hours in the morning to like write things down. And I thought this is taken over my physical life, you know. So I didn't describe everything that was going on because there was so much going on. I was using pictures and drawings, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to bullet point things now. So it's the first thing I do when I wake up. If my alarm goes off, I turn that off and I write how long I've been asleep for, and then I just do bullet points of just topics of things I've done, because working alongside with spirit and things, sometimes you can have premonitions.
Mm.
And I'll tell you one experience that happened to me a couple of days ago. So I needed something from Amazon, so I got it delivered to an Amazon locker. And on the dream the night before, I had this experience where I was at this place and they were giving me this money back, of like a plus, like money, like a refund. And they were saying that it was like a music center, and basically what it was, I needed a new memory card for a device to store my like meditation music on, so like a 1 terabyte memory card, and I didn't want it to be sent here in case it got lost. So I thought I sent it to the Amazon locker. I know it's definitely going to be there. And in my experience, it was about this music classroom, and they were giving me money back of the same amount of money it cost for the memory card. It was like £65. And I didn't connect the dots when I woke up. I should have been more aware, but I was off early in the morning, and first thing I went there, got to the Amazon locker, and the Amazon locker was empty. So Spirit must have known somehow that they were telling me that, oh, by the way, you're going to have to get a refund because you've got, you know, the memory card isn't in the locker, it's empty. So I went through customer services and eventually got my money back. But it was interesting that, you know, that night before, Spirit knew before I did.
Yeah.
So they were telling me like, oh, you know, you need a refund to get my money back, and it was exactly the same amount as I spent on this memory card. So I mean, it doesn't really mean anything of, you know, I would have got the money back anyway, but it's like almost keeping me on my toes, just to say
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, we're still here, we're still connected, you know, we're helping you. And when you are more aware of your dreams, you know, like you can have premonitions or psychic dreams or connections with people that are passed over, and they can pre-warn you and help you. And this is the beauty of dreams. If you have a very busy schedule life, like I do right now, I work a lot, I'm busy in the garden, every day is just really busy. Like I would love to say I have time to sit down and meditate, but the job I'm doing currently, I'm doing long hours. And for one reason as well is to learn more about sleep and having to get sleep when I'm being so busy. So I'll come back to meditation soon, but that's the plan. But at the moment, I have a retreat to look after and to sustain. I need the money for that. So life is just quite busy at the moment. But it's like almost spirit is saying, okay, we're still here, we're still helping, we have not gone away. So yeah.
Mm, mm. What about seances, and because obviously it's a wide subject, isn't it, for people? I mean, a lot of people don't even know what a seance is, or they've had, like you've seen the film with the Ouija board and all of this. So do you want to share for people that got no idea?
Yeah, so we're all being brainwashed through Hollywood, through films, through thriller. I don't really watch those sort of type of films, but you know, horror movies, Conjuring, The Exorcist. We're all being brainwashed. Even if we've seen something briefly, or we've seen a thriller, or even Halloween, we associate these things, seances. A lot of people have heard the word seances. They sort of understand, oh, it's woo-woo, Ouija board stuff, but they're scared to explore it because of fear. And if people do have things moving in their house or objects moving, excuse me, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad entity. It's just spirit trying to connect with you. And how amazing it is that, oh, your water bottle is just tipped over. And it's like, okay, what the hell? That's scary. And people think that it's scary. Here you go. There's a seance room picture. It's our cabinet. So a seance is a sacred place that is closed off from the modern world, there's no phones or Wi-Fi going on. It's just us, our clothes, sitting with spirit. We don't have our mobiles with us, no devices, apart from playing some music. We sing beautiful songs, like famous musicians, ABBA, Michael Jackson, other things that just builds up the energy. Freddie Mercury, Queen, and we sing, build up the energy, and then we go through medium moments where we have a bit of like normal relaxation music, and we sit in the dark. We sit in the dark to see the light, and with the presence of darkness, spirit can sometimes come through, especially if there's a physical medium involved. So you have different levels of mediums. You have mental mediums that are ones you've probably been to before, where you've had a reading. I had a tarot reading, for example, given a message from spirit. Then you have a trance medium where their guide will come into their body and speak to people who want to receive information and messages. But it goes even deeper into physical mediumship, where a physical medium is completely out so deep that spirit are able to manipulate their body and to give more phenomena. So objects appearing in the room, ectoplasm, which can be extruded from the physical medium's body. And this ectoplasm form can produce, it sounds really gross, but it's the way spirit can communicate with us. And this substance, physical substance mixed with energy from the physical medium is extruded from the body, from the nose or the mouth. And it's a very semi-liquid, semi-physical form, ectoplasm. And it's basically giving a form that spirit on the other side can put their form through and being seen. So people can, communicate with their past loved ones again. They can get messages and everything. But it's just showing what's possible. But during those sessions, it's nothing scary. We've had people in before where they feel a bit, not sure about this, but you're holding hands next to each other. You're not alone. It's actually really beautiful. And people see phenomena, things levitating. What you're talking about earlier about the trumpet is that the trumpet is just a cardboard-like tube, to expand the voice of spirit. So the ectoplasm can form like a pseudopod, which is a duplicate replica of what their voice box was like when they were alive, and that will attach onto the end of the trumpet, and they can just make their voice stronger. And so you can have direct voice phenomena where spirit are communicating with sitters in the room and giving dates, birthdays, and passings, and it's very important for people who sit because they experience truth and evidence of spirit that reinforces their spiritual journey and keeps them, like dedicated. Okay, this stuff is real, because the spiritual world is unseen. We have experiences, but sometimes there is doubt of like, is it really real? Did I make it up? But then when you see something physical in a seance, then it just keeps you more aligned in that area. But going back to Ouija boards, we do use Ouija boards, but not the typical one you see and you put your hand on. We have a talking table. So it's a very large white table from IKEA that we got, and we put letters around the outside with yes or no and numbers, and in the center is a red heart, and we have a little table with a little table called a planchette with wheels on underneath, and we all put our hands on top, and it will turn and rotate really fast to build up the energy, and we can communicate with spirit. We always do an opening prayer beforehand, but we've had so much evidence. We get a lot of rescues as well, people, spirit that are lost and trapped, and nothing bad. It's just like children that have like lost. They're trying to find their mum. They don't know where they are. They also feel in pain, but it's also a good practice for us because it gets us to get more in tune to our psychic abilities. We'll feel these spirits come through. We feel like, oh, part of my side of my body's gone numb. Oh, I think this person probably had a stroke, but we keep that stuff to ourselves. And we ask the table, oh, how did you die? And then sometimes they don't know. And then they remember and they said, oh, I had a stroke. I died. And then like, oh, that confirms. And then that feeling dissolves and goes away. So it's like a, you know, like a psychic gym if you think about it, when you experience these things. But yeah, very beautiful. Nothing scary. I've never experienced anything scary. 20+ years of doing this. It's more open up your eyes and phenomena. This is my life every day. I experience things, and it's the norm for me now.
Yeah. So I know all what you're talking about. Like I said, we grew up with all these sort of things, but when the trumpet was going around the room when we were younger, it was a metal trumpet. It was the real deal then.
Yeah, yeah. Don't make them like they used to. Yeah, we've had metal ones before, and they're great. We've actually got a cardboard one. It was used by a medium, and you can still see the residue of ectoplasm left behind.
Really?
So yeah. It's not ectoplasm, but it's just the moisture attached to it. So that's really interesting to see. But yeah, we've seen some great stuff. We've seen some manipulation of energies. We've seen apports. We've had a few famous physical mediums come in, as well as some very private ones, because not everyone wants to go public with this. It's a very dangerous subject for the medium, really. But there's one famous physical medium who's alive today, called Kai Mugger. He's based in Germany. And yeah, first time I sat with him, I got an apport handed to me, and it's this here. It's a little statue of Kabiru. And I put this on for a necklace, and in the dark I saw it in light, but he had short sleeves on, and an apport is basically an object that is, I guess, like spiritual lost property. These are items, gifts that are discarded, unwanted, that are either lost or. So say you have a friend, like a relative, who went to Bali and they got this for you, and you put it in the drawer and you didn't want it, you passed away, that drawer gets like thrown out into the skip or whatever. Spirit actually take this item and keep it safe for a while, and then to give to somebody else in a circle, or not just in a seance, but in physical reality, just an apport. Apport it. So how it appeared was Kai was in front of me. His physical body, it was his guide that comes through. He had no long sleeves on. He said to show his hands, and he was sort of doing this in midair. Everyone could see what was going on. And on the third, like this, I had my hands cupped underneath him, and I felt this pressure of air the second time, and I thought, nah, nothing's going to come through. But then after it like dropped to my hand and out of mid, like in thin air, and I was like, oh, what is it? I couldn't see because it was quite dark in the room with a little bit of red light, and I was trying to feel it, thinking, what is this? And it was really interesting. Before I went into that seance, I was remembering Bali. I was just thinking, reflecting, like, how I missed going to Bali and how beautiful it was, and the statues around, and yeah, it looks like something from like a Balinese like figure that you get in the temples. So that was quite a confirmation for me, because I didn't tell anybody, and I can't remember the message that was given to me, because I was like in shock, like this object just appeared from nowhere, and I'm thinking, okay, he's talking to me about a message, and it's not going in my head. I've got this object and think, what is it? What's going on? How did this happen? But the biggest object I saw was a green Tara statue. It was about this size, and it appeared in front of my foot about that far away within seconds. This was through Kai again as well. So yeah, really, really fascinating. It just shows what's possible with spirit and what they can do. Yeah.
Interesting, because like with all of these things, you've got to be with the right people to sit and build up the energies, haven't you? And I know with the Ouija board, I mean, you've seen films where they get all these messages and they scare people and frighten people. And I know we've had messages like, lifetimes ago now, it seems, where we've had proof, different things have come through, or names and what have you, when it's been checked out, is, but obviously this is building up, the right people to sit in the right group. You can't just sit and start things off, you've got to build that energy up, haven't you?
It can take years, yeah. I've heard of circles who have sat for like 2 or 3 years and nothing happened until 2 or 3 years' time. Some things happen. You hear some knocks and taps, as they call it, but this is a very slow process. Energy has to balance, and the energy of the sitters has to be in harmony. So like if you have too many sitters, there can be perhaps too much drama in the background, especially if you're all close as friends. Perhaps there could be jealousy, or there could be, other things going on, and that's not good. So finding sitters is very hard, dedicated sitters, because people come and go, especially when you're trying to have a closed circle. And it is difficult for spirit, because when someone new comes in, then spirit has to spend energy in order to sort of stabilize and balance those energies out in order to create phenomena. But some circles are lucky, they can sit for the first time and they got stuff because they've already got that right balance. But it's love, peace and harmony, which is very important. But if you go in there for yourself ego and your self greed and like, oh, this, I'm going to get phenomena myself through me and this attitude, then you're probably going to stop that flow of energy happening. And the thing is, you don't really know what people are thinking. Well, people in the room anyway, spirit know what people are thinking. But they'll accept and hopeful, that people are sat for spirit and bridging the two worlds together. And again, it's a very beautiful process.
So
hey, just our mate Bill that we're talking about before we come on here.
Yeah.
He didn't realise, but his family, his mum and dad, they had a night when friends would come up over to their place and they'd go upstairs, and he didn't know till years later that they were doing physical mediumship, right?
Wow.
Anyway, on this particular occasion, he was telling me that they opened a portal and they're looking at this French general who has been surrounded by the Germans, and we're going back into centuries,
yeah.
And he was down there on his knees, and he was asking for food and water for his troops because they were surrounded. And they were sitting there watching this, so they shut the circle, and they went off to Tesco's, Morrison's, Waitrose, and they got all this bread, heaps of bloody loaves of bread, and water. They came back, put it into the center of their circle, opened up the circle again, and lo and behold, it traveled from their time frame back to that guy, whatever century it was, and manifested just as when he asked for it, he received it. Yeah, very phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder what they thought. Like, oh, what's Tesco's? Where's this come from? Is that God? Like,
yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm sure they took off all the wrapping and all that stuff and just left the loaf of bread. But as for
that's
the water,
amazing.
It would have been in plastic bottles or whatever it was. But I mean, that goes to the point of time, isn't it? Like, it enhances the Christian concept of God knows your request before you. And so for a situation where you've gone and asked, here's a general who's gone and asked, they've gone in another time frame, have shut their circle down, gone off, and in their linear time has probably spent an hour or so getting all the stuff to come back and then reset the whole circle, and then it's traveled through. And no sooner that guy's finished his prayer, boom, he's got his food and he's got his bread and he's got his water. So, we're now dealing with different time dimensional space, isn't it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so objects that come into the space are called apports, but the ones that leave the space are called asports. So, yeah, they asported all this bread and water. That was great, Love to hear their side of the story.
Yeah. And
Bill
had many apports, didn't he, in his place?
Yeah, on his healing room, on his roof. He said he had to go down to the Sun Centre every few months to get rid of a load of keys because he didn't know what to do with them. He kept having them plug up his guttering. He had these, everyone's lost a key in their life, right? Like you wonder where it's gone. It's on Bill's roof. So luckily it didn't have an address attached to it. So it's quite fun, really. It just goes to show you what's possible and what they can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Not for the faint-hearted, eh?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So we're really talking about a time dilation field here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, you think about Einstein's the Einstein bridge, a Rosen bridge, where you bend time. If you have a bit of paper and you do this, and you can, from one point to another. That's supposedly how they do it. I mean, on the other side, you've got scientists, you've got chemists, you've got researchers. They know things about quantum mechanics and things, and that's how they manipulate this energy. They understand these laws of physics and everything. There's quite a famous thing called the skull experiment. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm.
Oh yeah, skull. Yeah. I was actually going to say Schrodinger's cat too. Yeah, that's another interesting law, isn't it?
Which one?
Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's cat. Okay, I have to look into that.
Yeah.
Skull that happened. Yeah, Skull happened between I think 1991 till 97 or something, many years ago in Norfolk in England, and in the end it was just 4 people that sat, and they built up all this energy and phenomena over the years that they were working with this new creative energy. So they had this glass dome, and they were able to work with spirit and store that energy, the creative energy, in the dome to be used later. But they had supposedly like all sorts of scientists on the other side that are past who are working with them and giving them evidence. So they had sealed film in a container that wasn't opened, and they got spirit to manipulate those films and to put pictures on. They got them developed, and they were seeing all sorts of things. Really, the whole length of the film had all this like writing and other things. So very evidential. It's one of the most evidential spiritual things that's out there. Really, something worth looking into.
I think the French, a friend of ours, Val Hood, she mentioned, it's probably passed on a book about the fellow who had 2 daughters, twins or something, in France, and they were good at physical mediumship. It was not what Mary and Margaret Fox was. It wasn't the Foxes. It was somebody else. No, it definitely wasn't them. No, it's French.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, a guy from America, was a guy called Michael Shane. He came out to Australia. Yeah, we've seen him a few times.
Yeah, we've had him here. Yeah, he when he's apported, he says it usually gets triggered by sugar. So he was eating some sort of bagel at the kitchen, and then he said, "Okay, something's going to apport. I can feel it, the build-up of energy." So we had a sheet ready, and all these crystals came out and rings, bone dry. No food attached to it, and he just literally ate, a load of food and had like a coffee, and then he started apporting this ring and some crystals. Yeah, we've had him over a few times. His billet readings are really, really good. So billet readings is everyone has a question they ask. They write on a bit of paper, fold it over. They don't put their name on it, and they all put it in this basket. And then he gets blindfolded. He puts coins over his eyes, then like 2 blindfolds, so he can show that you can't see anything. And he basically puts his hand in the basket, and he can read like through the paper and give an answer to people's questions. Very evidential. He's a good medium. Yeah.
He's a bit precious, but.
Sorry.
He's very precocious. He's a real princess.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I don't think that's why he's come back to Australia, because when he actually works, he gives 150%. He is a phenomenal man. But then when he comes back into his human form, he's a real precocious princess.
Yeah, everyone has their own requirements and needs, but it's who he is, and everyone works different. There are some people around the world who are just as good as these public mediums, but they just don't want to go public because of ridicule, fear, and they don't want that attention. We've had a few mediums here already who have gone through a lot of hardship in their life and doubt and criticism. Imagine waking up every day and getting messages, and it's usually people that have never sat with these mediums at all. They don't understand it. They've never sat with them. Also, it's jealousy. There's a lot of jealousy in spirituality, a lot. And this is why, as I said earlier, having sitters is very difficult. You can completely sit on your own as well to develop, and developing physical mediumship can take many years. A famous medium, Colin Fry, was a physical medium. I think he's passed over now, but he sat on his own for many, many years to develop. and you don't need anybody really. So yeah, it's quite phenomenal.
So Colin Fry, didn't he set up or didn't he use his money and his TV income, then he went over to Sweden or something, the Schomburger Institute, and kicked that on again?
I can't remember. I know that he did have like a TV series, things that he did where he was giving messages and stuff, but he had a side name. I can't remember his name now. Beginning with L, Lawrence or something like that. He went by that name doing his physical medium stuff, but he went by Colin Fry as his platform, sort of clairvoyant. He was a very good medium. Yeah.
Andrena?
Yeah, right. You've put something that Carol shared. Helen Duncan was a famous wartime materialization medium in whose presence 2 sailors appeared and announced they had died, which no one knew. Hence, she was prosecuted under the witchcraft law.
Yeah. One of the last people to be committed the crime of a witchcraft act. I can't remember what year this was, 1800s, 1900s, but she died.
It's in the war. It took place in the
war. Yeah.
She lived down. It's in Portsmouth, which is where the naval base was. I think that's.
She was Scottish, but she travelled across the UK, and she was actually told by governments or whatever to not do the seances anymore. She was, I think, she was prosecuted for holding them. It was illegal or something at the time, and so she did it in secret because she had this gift. And then a boat went down, and no one knew about it because it was very secretive. And when this man came through her physical seance, to speak to his mother that was present, I believe, or father, to say that I've just died on the HMS Barham, I think it was. And then the word got out, and then during another seance, the door got broken down by the police and interrupted her state during ectoplasm. And as I said earlier, ectoplasm is what extruded from the physical medium. It's energy based, creates a lot of static and energy, split up by spirit, can take many years to form over the years. But during a seance, it can extrude from the body. The medium is completely in trance. And if you disturb the session with light, for some unknown reason, I don't know yet, but the ectoplasm can react against light, and it can coil back into the body very fast. And because it's creative energy and static and everything, it can burn the insides. So she didn't die straight away, but she died not long after that from like internal like burns and stuff energetically. It caused a big rupture to her insides. And this is why it's a very sensitive subject, and why certain physical mediums don't want to go public about this either. So
she used to do it on a Saturday afternoon, or Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, and that's when she got raided, and they pulled back the curtains. That's the issue there.
That's probably what happened then.
To the benefit of everybody else, it was Winston Churchill who got rid of the Witchcraft Act, and he said, "If we're going to win this war, we'll take anything that's, even if it's from the supernatural."
Yeah, and he still comes through seances now to talk in through various people. He attended them when he was here, and he's very much his passion as well. So it's good that he still has this connection, and that we can
Winston,
connect with him. Yeah, Winston. Yeah.
Hey, I shouldn't be saying this, but back in 2000. Hello, we'll just get into it. So in 2012, we went down to Avebury because there was a big, huge crop circle, and it was the May in 2012 calendar thing, Anyway, during the course of traveling around all the different crop circles and the barge in and everything else, there's this guy, and he turned up on these 3 locations, or 3 days he was there at the same spot. I realized this guy's following us, So I stepped up to him and I said, "Listen, mate, I know you've been following us for the last 3 days, but after here, we're going down to the red line down here, having a cider or something. So if you want to come down, you can tell us why you're following us, He said, "No," he said, "I'm on bloody holidays." He said, "But I'll join you." Anyway, he didn't have a brass brazier on him. But The guy was the grandson of Air Marshal Dowling, the guy in charge of the Air Force during World War II. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy worked for the RAF, and he was in the media department of superannuation. And he opened up and explained how his grandfather, Winston Churchill, and another member of the war cabinet all used to meet in private in a circle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the gist of what was going to happen prior to the war. They got all this knowledge that things are going to happen. It's not going to be what Hitler said and Chamberlain had gone for the peace. No, not going to happen like that. And they had a problem with the Ministry of Defence because they wanted to build Lancashire bombers, but they were told by the Spirit, no, you got to go and get the fighters, and you got to put the orders in for your fighters. And so Air Marshal Dowling had to fight his own Ministry of Defence to get the fighters, and it was only because Winston Churchill said, no, we're going with the fighters, because they all were in the same room getting told what they had to do. And so he said his grandfather was coming across the English Channel. He got shot down by the Germans. He actually drowned, right? But he said, we have a relationship with you would call the extraterrestrials. And they were able to salvage the craft, and they were able to bring back my grandfather, brought him back to life. He said, no, yeah, we've had a relationship with our extraterrestrial friends. So, I mean, where do you get this information? It just comes out of the blue, because it's hello. And he said, you ever seen to the Farnborough Air Show? I said, I've heard of it. And he said, all the little groups can come along and they see all the craft going off and on, flying there. You get your bloody Cornwall pies or pasties, whatever you want to call them, and your Devonshire teas and all that stuff. And he said, it's just a front, mate. That's where bloody England or UK sells billions and billions of dollars of military hardware. It's just a front. I said, oh, okay, right. There you go. But I think I might have to cut the show now. I've given it to
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, look at our society, the way we are now. We have technology, but we're so still far behind of where we're going to be. And, it's just looking at travel and transport and other things in our world. We're going to continue to evolve. And, technology we have now will just be really, really old, and things will just get better. But, we're coming into a time with AI and stuff, and it's helpful in some ways. But it's, we've got to use our brains as well. But there's just so much fake stuff out there. You can use AI to help you to give inspiration. And I mean, going back to dreams, there are AI tools such as Bing.com. I use that, which is a free. And if you just prompt information, you can sort of recreate, things that you can see or want to see and express. So my books that I'm writing, I'm doing the cover work, and I'm using AI to create what I want, but then I'm giving it to an artist to recreate, because I'm like, look, this is what I want, but I want you to redraw it because then it's from you, because then you can see my vision. Because if I'm just drawing something I want, it's going to forever keep coming back saying, no, I don't want that. So, this is where AI is good, but you see so much of it in adverts and not using real people. I mean, eventually we're going to have movies that are completely AI, and then there's no real actors. So, we've got to be careful. We need to remember how things were. Like I miss like the 90s, and, back then when we didn't have phones, it was a different feeling and world. And, it's about balance, really. So.
Carol wrote, we have technology, but little wisdom.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's even just using your phone to do things like to map where you're going. And I was speaking to somebody the other day about going on the motorway. I said, look, you don't even need your phone. It's like, if you just know the points where you're going on the motorway, head to the M4 and then this one. It's all signposted. Just pay attention, and you'll be fine. So so many people, they get lost because they're looking at their phone. It says turn off, and then it's actually the next direction to turn off. So yeah, it is balance.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi would say, use the Force, Luke. So go back to your own intuition and change your energy field. Don't hide your light.
No.
Back in 1984 in Brisbane, a gentleman had sat in the back of the room when a talk was being given by J.J. Hertag, who wrote the Keys of Enoch, the Book of Knowledge, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Familiar with Dr. J.J. Hertag? Keys of Knowledge?
Okay.
Book of Knowledge, Anyway, the guy gave a fantastic expose. And when it finished, this guy gets up and he's got an American accent. And he said his name is Al Billick. And he said, you may not know me, but he said, if anybody familiar with the Philadelphia experiment, Project Rainbow. And of course, there's a number of people who were familiar with it. And he said, well, myself and my brother were involved in that project. If you can get this room for tomorrow night, I'll come and give you an expose on Project Rainbow, which is time travel. Bloody mate, we were there. We came the next night to listen to this guy and how the American Navy during World War II had on the basis of radar and visibility had actually then moved through time. And here is this guy had jumped through from 1942 to 1982, and then 2 years later he turned up in Brisbane and gave an expose on time travel that the Americans had pioneered.
Yeah, I definitely believe it's true. I mean, if you heard things about Simpsons, premonitions coming true, there's so much. I definitely think it's out there. But you know, this technology in the wrong hands isn't good. So of course it's got to be controlled. You know, so yeah, it's a difficult one. Laws of nature. I was even talking to my girlfriend the other day about there's a lady called Alyssa Carson. She's supposed to be one of the first people to go to Mars, and you know, physically. And I know about this for some while. It's like there's a time dilation. Do you know about this? Like if you leave Earth, time like speeds up almost or slows down. And I know this because supposedly on the ISS, the space station, they have to adjust the clocks because it's out of sync. Something to do with some sort of time dilation of time, where if you're not rotating or going at a certain speed, then time speeds up. So it almost shows that, you know, we are in some sort of simulation on Earth, and that if we were to bend time or travel backwards or something, then we can potentially go back in time with the right technology. It's just stuff we don't understand fully, that, you know, isn't bound to our current laws of physics and stuff here on Earth.
Because there's a lot of people that say they've come from the future to give you the messages, and you think, well, it's already happened, it's already mapped out, we're just going through all of this till we sort of get to that step, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I know the future is a moving target, but, you know, spirit have an understanding of what is going to happen. And it's not like looking at the weather. It's like, you know, I think they can perceive. I think we live in a very linear time where spirit time doesn't exist at all. We've heard that.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've given me so many information about the future. I've had so many. I'll give you a couple of examples. So, you know, especially where like lucid dreaming occurs, but also in you know, living time, being awake. So one was before COVID. I was living in London at the time, and I didn't hear spirit, but I felt a very strong presence of saying to me, come back to the countryside, you need to come back to Somerset, something big is going to happen. And this was in 2018. And then I was here, and I just felt it was very strong. I needed to be here for 2 years. And then I was driving through Asda car park, and I stopped because I could feel, and the spirit saying to me, like, something big is going to happen soon, be prepared. And I was like, well, I don't know what this is about. I dismissed it. So I would have stayed in London otherwise, but I came back here. And then that's when the pandemic happened. So I was like, okay, this is the big thing that was going to happen. But they didn't tell me what exactly. I guess they knew something was going to happen. But yeah, things happen to me, you know, weekly, all the time. It's like almost every day. It's the norm to me. You know, I'm a little bit psychic. I can perceive things that do happen, but I can't request it. I can't say, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow or the next hour. It has to come to me. You know, when you trace your thoughts back, and it's gingerbread trailing your thoughts back of like, did I think that, or did it come to me externally? When it's coming to you externally, you know it's from spirit and not from your mind. But I've had so much evidence from spirit and dreams. There was one time where it was back in 2017, and we had this team meeting in London, and everyone was really excited about having these people over to like collaborate with. And in the experience the night before, I was in the environment at work, in our spa environment, and this one guy had this name badge on with P, letter P on it. Another guy had S on it, and then there was this woman which I couldn't quite see. I couldn't quite make out her name, and everyone was really excited in the dream experience, and then they decided not to collaborate. They decided to pull away and not be involved with us for some unknown reason. So anyway, the next day I woke up and I didn't know what these people's names were, but I spoke to my friend and I said, I had this experience with these two people, and one person had the letter P on their name badge, and they said, oh, that's Paul, their name is. And then the other guy had S, and I was like, does that make any sense to you? He goes, oh, that's Simon. And I was like, oh, okay. So when Simon came through the door physically, when I actually met him, it was exactly the person I had experienced in my dream the night before. And so what happened that day? Everything went smoothly. Everyone was really dedicated and like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then they asked my opinion. What do you think? Yeah, that's good. But I knew in my head that something was going to happen. And 2 months later, they pulled out. So it wasn't that same day. But for whatever reason, that spirit gave me that, or I psychically perceived that. We don't understand about time, but we are shown things for some unknown reason. So yeah, interesting.
So what else, because like we're coming up to the hour,
sure.
That's not set in stone. So what else would you like to share with our listeners today? Is there any other messages that you would like to get out, or ways of being, or if this is going to help in any way? Because we are in very challenging times, aren't we? It's like we're in the holding bay at this moment.
Yeah, but hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Ladrhyn, didn't you go through the Monroe Institute?
Yeah, I've been there once myself. I did 2 programs. I did the Gateway Voyage, and then I did the week with Joe McMoneagle, famous remote viewer. Had some really good experiences there, and yeah, really good. So what we're doing here, we don't do that anymore with the hemisync and stuff. But as I said, like I've been quite busy doing the gardens here. I've just taken a few years out. But next year I'm hoping to get back into my therapies. So I've redone my healing room here at the retreat, and I'll be giving like massages, healing. Just people want to go for a walk and a talk, for their problems and worries. I'm trained in like mental health. So we have a nature reserve next door. So if it's not raining, people can pay for my time to, just have somebody to talk to, have some healing, have a massage, eat some healthy food. So it's like a mini one-to-one retreat, basically, that's given people that time, because I've been through some challenges in my life. I know it's difficult, but I've got through them, and I know a lot about health and sleep, mental health. Everything's about balancing, really. But if people want to learn more about how to get to their better selves, I'm still learning myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but if people want to feel better in themselves, then I have that space to be offered. Not at the moment. I think I'm busy in the garden doing things, but I'm looking to host that more next year. I redone my therapy room a couple of months ago in preparation for that. So I use light therapy, sound healing. It's a range of different tools, but it's sort of like suited, tailor-made sessions for that person. Perhaps they need, to release some tension out of their body. I'm training massage, and yeah, just get some healing, just get some, physical time, presence time, because so much is online now, and people do need physical presence. People, physically.
Did you ever go to the Arthur Findlay College over at Stansted?
Yeah, I visited. I did have a look. Went in. I didn't attend anything. I just went there just to have a look at the day. But they have a lot of things about like mediumship and stuff like that. But they're set in their ways. They have certain protocols, which is great. But this is what I want to leave here eventually. I want the retreat to continue being a retreat, but I want it to eventually be left as an organization that people can come and experience and learn. That's the wish for me anyway, but we don't know how the future plans, but that's what I would love to happen. And this is why I'm trying to plant the seed for the future, doing the secret garden, having the gardens for people to walk around, just a sanctuary that people can come and enjoy. I'm planting lots of really rare and exotic sort of fruit trees. I've got avocados, lemon and citrus. I've got plums and peaches and all sorts of things growing that people can come and just pick and just, I don't know, enjoy, So.
And I think that's what a lot of us want, is that sacred sanctuary, where you've got all these things on hand, where people can come, they can be, they can sit, they don't have to do anything. There's so many now wanting the bigger picture of, what could happen, especially now more than ever, because there's more and more people awake, or aware more than awake, of what's going on, and looking at things slightly differently that they may have before.
Well,
yeah, definitely, it is.
At Bill's place, a lot of people would go to his garden and just sit right under that apple tree,
Yeah, definitely. That's good. I mean, we have 2 resident mediums that live with us as well. We have a medium, Sue Payne. She does readings. A lot of it's online, but also in person. And then we have Neil here that does trance and healing. And so it's a little community that's growing in a way. It's nice to have. It'd be nice to have more people like that here. That'd be a dream, really, that people can live here full time and, offer their gifts and just good sitters. As I said earlier, having dedicated sitters is very difficult. But even having people who don't want to be mediums or whatever, they just want to be here because they love the energy. And we've had a lot of people like that, and that's what's important. It's like when you go to Glastonbury, they say Glastonbury is difficult because there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, and it's true in one way. But you need that balance. You need to be both a chief and the Indian. A sitter and a master. We're our own masters. It depends where you're heading, and this is the beauty of life. If you've more successful at like cooking and doing that, then that's where the healing is. In that food. Everything's about balance.
Well, most indigenous tribes on this planet have always had a seer or medicine man, medicine woman, haven't they? So, I mean, it's quite a common occurrence as part of life itself. I mean, in the Maori and New Zealand traditions, I mean, if you ever watched Once for Warriors, you'll find that the tribe, there's a family, like a line of families who will say, right, they're the warriors, and then there's the royal family, and then there's the medicine family. They all come down that particular line, the shamans and stuff like that. So for the current civilization that we got, we've handed over our responsibility to the pharmaceutical industry, which is primarily a chemical based without any life force in it. So people like yourself who have come back to the natural medicines of intuition and following your dreams, soothsaying, or whatever you want to call it, as long as you can open up your whole all these capabilities that humanity's got. It's a testament to you, Ladrhyn, for having a go and carrying on with it. I think it's fantastic.
Thanks. Well, I'm very passionate about what I do. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I think I see those things that are like blockers and things that don't keep you on your path. I mean, to some people, they probably enjoy a drink, but I don't like the feeling of being drunk and everything. And smoke, I just can't handle. But to be living in this world, you need to look after your vessel. The vehicle that you are traveling in, which is your physical body. Nurture it and keep it well. Excuse me. And just it's everything about balance. It's not overeating as well. It's not under eating. It's finding that balance. Keeping fit and moving is important. At the moment, I do a driving job. I do, say, long hours, and I'm happy doing that at the moment. But there'll be time when I'll do less of it. But I need the money in order to fulfill what I'm trying to do here. And people come here and they see that, oh, you got a big place, and they think that we're loaded and everything. Yeah, we're trying to make do. We're all very busy trying to maintain the place. And it's like what I saw when I was visiting Indonesia. Very third world country, not very wealthy, but they were very like pure in their hearts. The same in like Thailand and places like that. there's a lot of beauty. But what I see in the modern world is, like, the new iPhones has come out. I know that because people around me are like, "Oh, I'll get the new iPhone." But your current phone's fine. The current phone I'm using is about 5 years old, and I'm still happy with it. I don't want an upgrade. It's working fine. If it dies, I'll get a new one. But people, greed is a big thing in the world, and people who have more things, they don't feel like they've got enough. It's almost like a mental problem where you have everything you need. When you leave this world, you don't take it all with you anyway. So it's about balance. You've got to enjoy the things that you love, and clothes and everything, a good home. But it's having ample, but not too much being greedy. Everything's about balance in life. That's how I see it.
Totally. Wonderful. Okay. Was there any last words you'd like to impart us with?
No, if you're curious about physical mediumship, trance, we do offer things here now and then. We do have some open circles going on, and like workshops like monthly, but we're not fully open as such. To just come and visit, so don't just turn up. So if you're interested in learning more and you're in the area, or perhaps you are already developing physical medium or trance, and you want to learn about healing, get in touch, because we're trying to build up a community here. And if people have a gift, then we'd love to hear from you, and host you here, etc. So that's our passion. We want to, things that I've seen in seances is where we've seen phenomena and communication, and it's something you can't really find anywhere else. And I'm not saying that we have it all. There's many places around the world. In Australia, you have the Wallachia Development Centre. People who are in Australia, they can go somewhere. There's places all around the world. But if you are in Somerset or in England, then we're one of the very few places in the UK that offer a dedicated, purposely built seance room for development. We've hosted physical mediums all around the world, and had some really emotional times, and good emotional, seen some good happy tears, and people be in touch with their loved ones. That's our passion, and we can see the benefit from it, and that's what we're trying to do. So thank you for having me.
Trying, you are doing.
Sorry?
Stop saying trying, you are doing.
We are doing, exactly, yes.
And it's brilliant. So fabulous what you're doing, and fantastic. And maybe when it's all ready and you're going to have an open day or whatever, you have to come back and have a share.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
so
much.
On.
It's been an
thank you too.
Right, and thank you so much, and thank you everybody for tuning in this week, and same time, same place next week. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's all right. I just want to put the map up there. Okay. Thank you. Buddy, brilliant, mate. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Just stay with us.